Hello, everybody. I am Kanisha, the Beauty CPA Coleman, and I help beauty entrepreneurs save money on taxes with tax planning and CFO services. Okay, happy Tuesday or Taxing Tuesday, I like to call it. All right. So I'm coming to y'all to talk about step two of the 7 steps to slay your taxes. So, what is step two? Step two is I'm going to be helping you decide whether or not you should be hiring a tax professional or doing it yourself. And the reason why this is step two is because remember, step one was all about, gathering your documents and gathering your business's financial data. Let me recap what the 7 steps are first. Step one, gathering your documents and financial data for your business. Step two, should you hire a tax pro or do them taxes yourself? Step three is making sure you're reporting all of your business's income and you're taking all of the deductions that you are entitled to on the business level and the personal level. Step four is reviewing your tax return. Step five is audit proofing the tax return. Step six is tax due or tax refund, and step seven is tax document retention. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about step two, which is all about deciding whether you should do it yourself or hire a professional. Now, the reason why it is step two is because this may be determinant on how much income and expenses you have to report, right? So basically, like if it's like super straight to the point, like you only got like one W-2, maybe you can get away with doing it yourself. But if it's more complicated than that, then that's when you likely, want to hire a tax professional. Just some housekeeping, right? Before I get into it, if you have any comments or any questions, drop them as we talk, right? Don't wait to the end. You may forget it. I know I got a hard stop, in 30 minutes or so. So go ahead and drop them as they pop up. Um, and then secondly, you know take my opinion as a professional. Okay, as a professional, I've been kind of on both sides of the aisle, right? I spent the first 8 years of my tax career as an IRS revenue agent, and then when I left the government, I spent time in public accounting, corporate America, and now my own firm. So I've seen it from both perspectives. I have seen how it turns out when you do it yourself and not hire a tax professional. And I've seen the benefits of hiring a professional on the corporate side and then being the professional when you guys hire me to do your tax prep. So I have like a multitude of experience to share with you. Now, while I would love to take your money, right? If you hired me, there are some instances where it is perfectly fine to prepare your own tax return. And let's talk about those situations. And another thing, I don't want to ignore this. I know the time that we're in right now. We're in a pandemic. So everybody may not be in a position where they can hire this job of preparing your tax return for your business and for your personal self. And I understand that and I empathize with that. And so that's why I couldn't ignore the fact that there are situations where you can do it yourself. Okay. So let's get into it. Just to remind you guys, I do multi stream to Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So that's why, if you notice, I'm shifting back and forth. That's because I'm trying to look at two cameras and give y'all equal attention. Okay. So let's get into it. So when is it like perfectly fine, okay, to prepare your own tax return? Again, when your financial situation is straightforward, and I mean really, really straightforward, meaning you only have a few sources of income and deductions, right? Just a few. Maybe you have one W-2 or one 1099, maybe one of each, right? Then yeah, go ahead and file it. Especially if you're using a good software like a TurboTax or an H&R Block, They will guide you and ask you certain questions and give you a checklist of documents to make sure you have in front of you. They'll ask you a multitude of, I call it interview style questions, where they go ahead and ask you what's been going on with you and your business throughout the year to make sure you're going to report and give them the information that they need. All right. So, like I said, if you only have a couple of documents to report, it's totally fine. So, let's say you don't have a W 2 or 1099 and you are just straight business income and deductions. If you have all that information together, like you have it on a nice little list or an Excel spreadsheet, you have your income and expense categories and the amount already put together. I hope it's already put together by now, y'all. It's early March. Feel free to do it yourself using one of those really good tax softwares like TurboTax, H&R Block. I even think the IRS has a free version. So check that out as well. Now, prepare your only time when you have the time and the patience. Let me remind y'all, it takes an inexperienced person, so an average person, about 20 hours, right? From start to finish to prepare their own tax return. 20 hours. Now, there may not be 20 consecutive hours. Obviously, you got to work, you got to sleep, you got to do all these things, but it takes up that long, right? To gather all the information, then go to tax software, understand all the questions, and put it in correctly, produce a return, and review it and e-file it. That's how long it's going to take you. If you got the patience to go through that, do your own return. Do it. But if you do not have the patience, like if you're quick to get frustrated and overwhelmed, that is not having patience. And so you may not want to do your own tax return, because here's the thing: you're going to get tired, you're going to get impatient, you're going to get overwhelmed, and you're going to be like, forget it, I won't report this income, forget it, I won't figure out these deductions, I don't know what they're asking me and I ain't finna go figure out what they're asking me, so I'm gonna just skip this question. No question can be skipped when it comes to tax software, y'all. So if you do not have the patience, don't do it yourself. Patience requiring you to figure stuff out when it is not clear and cut for you to understand. Okay. Now, prepare your own return when nothing has changed from last year, right? If everything is pretty much straight the same as it was in the prior year, you could typically use that prior year return as guidance to prepare this year. Go ahead, do it yourself, right? And lastly, do it yourself when you've done it before and it was correct. Now, how do you know it was correct? I don't know. Maybe you got audited and the IRS didn't find nothing and you was good to go. But if you've prepared your own return before, so you kind of know the lay of the land, you know how to use the software, you know where everything's supposed to go, you know what it's supposed to look like when it's done, prepare your own return. You'll be fine. Now, here's the criteria for when you should hire a tax professional. A tax professional, y'all. There has been major changes in the tax law. So before pandemic year, before 2020, the last major change in tax law was TCJA, Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, signed by President Trump, late 2017. That was the last major tax overhaul, right? Major. It was huge. And some of those tax benefits are still going on right now. Fast forward to pandemic year 2020, it was a ton of tax changes. It was the Secure Act, it was the CARES Act, then it was two stimulus payments, then it was plenty like changes in the CARES Act to provide certain COVID reliefs to small businesses. So this is the tax return you guys are filing right now. This is from the pandemic year 2020. So yes, there has been major tax law changes. But again, if you don't feel like any of that applied to you or for one applicable, do your own return. If you got a small business, right? You got a small business, you got that PPP money, maybe the EIDL money, you got stimulus, you got the unemployment, both on a state level and a federal level. Yeah, you probably want to hire somebody. You probably want to hire somebody just to make sure that you're getting all the tax benefits that you are entitled to. You in your business is entitled to. So that's when you want to hire somebody, is when there has been major tax law changes, and there has been. There has been, okay? How do you know when there's been major tax law changes? It will be all over the news. All over the news. Anytime they pass any type of relief because something happened, it'll always be through a taxing mechanism. Always. It'll always be done. The relief will be provided through the IRS because that's the agency under the Department of Treasury, and they have the power to give, like, disperse monies to the peoples of the country. So anytime there's been major tax law changes, you ain't gotta go find it. It's gonna be all over the news. It's gonna keep slapping in your face. Even when you don't want to hear about it, you're gonna hear about it. All right. Oh, and keep following me. That's what I'm here for, is to get y'all the tea. So keep following me. I'm always tell y'all when there's been some updates, and please stay with me because I do have a PPP update for later. Um, when should you hire a tax professional? When your financial situation is complex. So you got income and deductions coming from multiple sources. They coming from everywhere. You got a Form W-2, you got 1099s, you got your own business, you got investments, you have rental properties, you done sold some property, you sold your house, you married to somebody who work a W-2 job and a side gig. When you have all of that going in, plus you got kids, when you got all that going on, hire somebody. Just because you want somebody overseeing your complete financial profile and making sure you're getting all the tax benefits you are entitled to, you and your spouse are entitled to. Because you got a lot of moving parts there, and they all work together. When you minimize this one thing, it affects the other. And so to understand how they all interplay together, you really want a professional. Now, can you go figure it out on, tax software? Sure. But the tax software, remember this, guys, it's going to spit out what it spits out is determined upon what's put in there. So if you don't give it certain information, it's not going to deliver or output certain information. Okay. And so me as a tax professional, when we're working together, I know what's been going on all last year. So I'm going to ask you certain questions, especially from major tax law changes and from conversations that you and I will have together while I'm preparing your return. And so I know to ask you certain things based on that. Software don't know that. Software can only spit out what you put in it, right? And then if you don't know to put information in there, you're going to miss out on something. Okay? So hire a tax professional when you got some complexity, right? You look at your old return and you got like the alphabet soup of schedules. You got schedule A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. You got like all type of stuff. That's how you know your situation is complex, and you probably should hire somebody to make sure it's all interplaying the way that it should. Hire somebody when your financial situation has changed drastically from the prior year. For example, you started a business, right? You had a baby. Maybe your baby ain't a baby no more. They done graduated, went to college or something, or they just ain't in high school no more. And so now the tax benefits that you were used to with a dependent, you no longer have that dependent. And so now you gotta, figure some other stuff out to save on taxes. Maybe you got married, maybe you got divorced, maybe you sold your house, a big piece of land or a house or a major asset. That's when you want to hire a tax professional to make sure, they keeping that bill as low as possible. And lastly, I got two more things. Hire a tax professional when y'all just want a peace of mind. Peace of mind. Peace of mind, remember, guys, that's priceless. You can't put a price on peace of mind knowing that it's all taken care of properly the way it's supposed to be. You ain't got to worry about nothing. IRS sends you a letter. You ain't got to be scared to open it for months, even though it's just like a FYI letter. It really ain't nothing, but you scared to open it because you just tried to experiment on your tax return. Okay? If you want peace of mind, hire somebody. Okay? Hire somebody when you clearly just don't know what you're doing. You just don't know. You just don't know what you're doing. You have no clue what you're doing. It takes an honest, vulnerable, really secure person to admit, like, I have no clue what I'm doing. Like with me, when it comes to like hair and nails and stuff, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't. I go to professionals. I go to you all. I go to you all to help me take care of me. You know, so please don't be like, oh, I can figure it out. I'm a Google. Da-da-da. Please understand this. If it takes the average person 20 hours to do a tax return from beginning to end, guys, it takes me on average 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes to prepare a tax return. So just weigh that. Me, 30 to 45 minutes. You, 20 hours. Might be correct. Me, 30 to 45 minutes, 100% correct. Will save you money. Okay? So just think about that too. Just, weigh that as well. I hope that was helpful for you. That's one of the questions I get a lot, y'all, is, can I just do my own return through Turbo or da-da-da? Don't get me wrong. There's no shade on Turbo or H&R Block or TaxAct, TaxSlayer, none of those, right? There's a certain place for those during tax time for a certain clientele. However, if you own a business, or even if you don't own a business, but you just got some complexities happening with your financial profile, the tax professional, the service they provide really does pay for itself. Because in the end, they're going to see things that you may not know about, and it will save you money in the long run. Okay. So I hope that helps. Oh, thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate those kind words. So yeah, let me get into this. Pete, before I let y'all go, let me get into this PPP update. Okay. Mackenzie, don't worry about it. Ain't nothing wrong with not knowing nothing about tax and accounting. Only people that know a ton about tax and accounting, guys, is people that went to school for tax and accounting, right? I'm gonna be clear with you. I have no shame in my game. I know nothing when it comes to like beauty, like doing it, like DIY beauty stuff. No, not me. Never been me. I don't think it ever will be me, right? But that's okay, because that's why I have all of you. That's why I have all of you, and there is no shame in that. So let me get into the PPP update, y'all. So this is the last thing I heard, and not like I heard, like I just random Googled it. It's coming from reputable sources, but as you know, Congress, SBA, they're always changing things, right? They're always changing things and rules. Last I heard, right, they put a like a special rule in the latest provision saying that small businesses with 20 employees or less. Thank you so much, Mackenzie. I appreciate it. I'm glad you found, some help with what I was able to help you with. So thank you for that. PPP, sorry. Last I heard, small businesses less than 20 employees got this special window where you can apply for PPP. And this time, y'all, this is like super major. This time, when you apply, your PPP loan amount will be based off of gross income instead of net profit, which is a huge deal. Because the issue that small businesses, especially like Schedule C filers and partnerships, who are typically the owners, are not put on payroll. So because of that, the payroll amount was based on their net profit. So that meant that if you were running a loss or very, very low net profit, that means that like your PPP loan amount was like very small. Well, Congress or the SBA or whoever, they saw the error in that. And so they changed the rules. And now you can apply to PPP with your gross income, which is your top line number, which is awesome, right? Because typically that number is like very large. And if you take that number, divided by 12, multiply it by 2.5, then that's your loan amount. And so even if you ran a loss, you can still apply with gross income, right? Long as you made some money, you can still apply. So please take advantage of this. So I believe the window was very short. It was very, very short. I believe it was only 2 weeks. I believe that window opened last Wednesday. And so I believe it closes on March 9th. March the 9th. So it's the second, you got like a week. You have a week to apply. You have a week to apply. Okay. But yeah, gross basing the loan amount. And remember, this is a forgivable loan. So as long as you use it in a way that you would have normally used your compensation or the money you would have gotten from your Schedule C or your partnership, it's forgiven. So this is free money based on your average gross income times 2.5. Okay, so go look at your Schedule C. For my Schedule C filers, for my partnerships, go look at your gross income line, whatever line that is on the 1065. Take that number, divide it by 12, multiply by 2.5. That's your potential PPP loan amount. You have 1 week to apply to your lender. Okay, you have 1 week to apply to your lender. They have not given any guidance on, like, let's say you applied already before they made this switch. Let's say you applied using net profit before they made this switch, this new rule. They haven't given guidance on how you can, like, maybe pull back and revise your application. I would talk to your banker. I would talk to your bank on how you can, like, switch the numbers around, because you'll get more money based on gross income than net profit. So yeah, that's a huge deal. That is a huge, huge deal. Do not forget this. You got like 7 days to go and apply. Do I help with PPP? How I help with PPP is I help you gather your financial information that you need to apply to a lender. Typically, you apply for the program through a lender, typically the bank that your business bank accounts are at. But if you don't have a business bank account, you can go to any bank, and they're going to make you open an account there to disperse the funds. But you have to apply to the program through a lender. How I help is I help you gather the financial data and tax returns that you need to apply. So when you go to a lender, like if you already have a lender or already have a banker, or if you're interested in checking one out, if you go to them and you say, hey, what do I need to apply? They're typically going to say, 2 years of financials, maybe some tax returns. They're going to ask for things like financial data like that. And that's how I help you get ready to apply to for the program to the banker or lender of your choice. So that's how I help. And if you're interested in that, just feel free to, hit the links in my bio and set up a call on Instagram, Facebook. Just message me. I'll send you my calendar link so we can jump on a quick call to see kind of where you are with how your financials are together, and if your tax return is already drafted or filed. We can talk about that. But yeah, that's a game changer for the PPP program. Don't forget about it. Again, it's like free money. So yes, guys, I don't see any other questions. So I'm going to let y'all go. I'm not going to keep y'all any longer. Try to keep these things short and sweet, but helpful. I'm going to drop a couple of shorts throughout the week, because I want to remind you guys about tax season, tax prep. We're in that time. The first due date is this month. If you're a partnership or S Corp, your tax return is due March 15th. And then individuals and C Corps, your tax returns are due April 15th. This time will fly. So I will be reminding you constantly, annoyingly, on a regular basis. Remember, get your financial data together, get your tax returns prepared and file by the due date. If you can't file by the due date, get an extension. Remember, though, the extension is extra time to file, not to pay. So remember that too. So yeah, I'll be dropping reminders and helpful information for you guys throughout the week until these due dates have come and gone. Remember, I do have a couple more spaces for tax prep. If you're interested in that, please hit the link in my bio, Instagram, And Facebook, just message me and I'll send you a link. We can get on a call and we can talk about it. But let's get these tax return filed. Let's not be late. Let's not pay without arrangements with the IRS, y'all. We can make arrangements to be considered, on time and proactive. All right, that is all I have. Have a great night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.